And that didn't take long, my friends. We have mandatory evacuations in parts of Louisiana, specifically Grand Isle, Louisiana today. Ahead of what more than likely will be Hurricane Sally, the question is how strong will this storm be by the time it makes landfall near Louisiana, Mississippi? That's right, my friends. Welcome back. September 13th, 2020, 11:19 a.m. And we just had the 11 a.m. National Hurricane Center update. And you can see right here, we are expecting a hurricane landfall with Tropical Storm Sally, soon to be a hurricane. They're showing right here, Monday, 8 a.m., we should be seeing that hurricane symbol. Or the actual upgrade of Sally from a tropical storm to a hurricane. I believe that will happen a little sooner than 8 a.m. Monday. I'm shooting for more overnight tonight, as we still have a decent amount of space to go between where Sally is now and landfall, which is projected to be in that eastern area of Louisiana, specifically Grand Isle, Louisiana. Now has mandatory evacuations that will extend into Mississippi and parts of Alabama as we continue to track this very heavy rainmaker of a storm, Sally. Now listen to this. So Sally is a tropical storm, but just check out, this is a lower level water vapor chart, and the deeper greens you see, the more rain you're seeing, and you can see these storms battering the Keys in southern Florida, now moving up to that middle section of Florida, basically parallel with Lake Okeechobee on the east side of Florida. This storm is clearly coming up the west side, and then it's going to hook over towards the Louisiana area. And that is why we are doing these mandatory evacuations ahead of this storm, because of the amount of space between Florida and the angle it's taking towards Louisiana is going to put it over open water with minimal land interaction and minimal shear wind. So this storm has nothing left to do but grow until it makes that landfall. Once again, as far as these mandatory evacuations go, as of right now, I believe the only area that is having these mandatory evacuations is Grand Isle, as Tropical Storm Sally churns in the Gulf. So we can expect more of these evacuation orders to come in, especially with the COVID situation. We need to keep that in mind, that people are evacuating and grouping together while this is going on, so it makes things a little harder. So the fact that we just had Laura as a Category 4 hurricane, and now we have the potential for a Category 1 to Category 2, we got to kind of treat these the same when it comes to people being put into small, confined areas. I will continue to update this storm throughout today and tomorrow, at least until we have that possible landfall, and then we'll track this thing through the states, and then we'll have some other stuff to worry about clearly, as the Atlantic Ocean is completely fired up right now. 3 named storms, almost 4, with Tropical Depression 20 right here. If you guys remember, we had the charts up from yesterday. I'll show you both charts right now. And if we take a look right here, this was yesterday around 2 p.m. So just to give you an idea, a little bit of changes. We had Sally off the southern area of Florida, now well within the Gulf. We still have this invest here. We still have Paulette, Renee, and now this red X right here is now Tropical Depression 20. We could see that right here. And just take a look at this area here, and as I switch the picture, boom, we could see that invest is now Tropical Depression 20, expected to be a full-blown hurricane in the next couple days. Another invest added and another invest added. So we have 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 named storms at the same time in the Atlantic Ocean during this time of peak hurricane season. Just a heads up for those of you tracking this storm, some of these plots put this thing landfall into the Panhandle. Some say it could be an Alabama landfall, but a bulk of these spaghetti plots, as you can see right around this area, put this thing right into eastern Louisiana and then kind of curves up into the United States. The potential for a Panhandle landfall or an Alabama landfall is absolutely on the table. All we need is a small shift in any sort of pressure or wind shear down in the South Caribbean or the South Gulf, for that matter, will adjust the way this track is going to go into the United States. I don't usually like doing this, but a lot of people from the western area of Louisiana and even the eastern area of Texas have been asking if they will be affected by this storm. Now, the only thing I can say is absolutely yes, because the Gulf is such a small area compared to the rest of the world and the size of a tropical system that it would be wrong of me to say you will not be affected, because if this storm does hit even the eastern area of Louisiana and Mississippi, you will still have effects from rain bands and wind and things like that, minor storm surge in the western area of Louisiana, also the eastern area of Texas. So I can't rule that out consciously in my head without feeling like I didn't give you accurate information. So anytime there's a storm within 200 to 300 miles of you, and I mean that by like a tropical storm or hurricane, you want to be on your toes about it, you want to be updated, and you want to know exactly where this storm's going or the potential of where it might go, which is why it's good to have channels like this, but it's also very important to keep an eye on your local weather, especially where you live, because those meteorologists are paid and they are put on the forefront to give you this information on TV, where unfortunately still most people get their information today. Really quick, here is a chart called the Mimic chart. This gives you a little bit of a sense of rotation in warm and cold water. We are entering into a La Nina phase, which has to do with the Pacific Ocean and the amount of warm and cold water that's coming in and out of the Pacific. We will talk about that at a later date, but it may put an uptick in our already record-breaking Atlantic hurricane season and our winter. Like I said, we will talk about that later, but clearly you could see the rotation of tropical storms, soon to be Hurricane Sally. We got Paulette and Renee out there, and then Tropical Depression 20 down here closer to the warm water belt. A lot going on in this peak hurricane season, far from over. We still have about 50% of the action for the entire season left to go. So buckle down, hunker down, and please be safe. I will be tracking Sally throughout the day. Again, landfall expected in eastern Louisiana near the Grand Isle area. We will see if that changes. Thank you all so much. And last but not least, if you have not subscribed, shared, or liked this video, please do so. If you like this content, every little bit helps, and I enjoy putting this info out to you on a daily basis. Last thing I want to say is shout out to Canada, especially Ontario, and I want you all to be safe. I will be back later with an update. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.